Hello, gamers and collectors. It's your boy Kentman, bringing you that JRPG and fan service content you deserve. And on May 22nd, 2025, I beaten and platinum Yumia. And I'm sad that it's over. I'm so sad that it's over.
Who's he?
Hitman!
He's not important!
Okay. Obviously, I can still play the game, but I've done everything. I played this game to the fullest maximum potential that I could possibly play. Unless there's DLC, there's nothing left for me to do. I've done it all. I spent time, grew, and just bathed in the world of Yumia. And it was just such a magical time. Have you ever waited for an event or a vacation or a game for so long, and then when you finally get that event or a game or it comes up and it just is everything you wanted it to be? That was Yumia. Now, of course, not everything was perfect. There was some things that could have been done better, of course, but overall, that game was so magical to me. Even more than Ryza, and I love Ryza. I adore Ryza. Ryza is what got me back into the series after taking a break for a while. Also, it was the series that, introduced me to working with Ray Kentman for the first time. And it was a great, and just Ryza herself is a great character and world in general. And plus, she's done by one of my favorite artists, Tordo Monimo, so there's a lot of appeal when it comes to Ryza. However, I think why Yumia means a lot to me more is because I was covering. I was building up the hype for it. I was waiting for it. It was the game that was going to cure my gaming drought that I had ever since beating Rebirth and Stellar Blade. And that's a long time between gaming. Now, of course, there was some great games in between that, but when you play Rebirth and then you go into Stellar Blade, there's a lot of great gaming potential in those games that leaves you kind of left with, I need another satisfying experience again. Like, I almost had that again with Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, but I still haven't beaten that, so we're not going to talk about that too much. But either way, now, normally I like to structure my trophy platinum videos in like going through each trophy, but because this was a special occasion, I'm just going to talk about Yumia, and then as I go, then I'll talk about the trophies at the same time, and we'll just make this one happy little review trophy package into one, and it's just gonna be one magical experience. Now, first, let's talk about the characters itself. The characters for Yumia was just magical. I loved every single one of them, from Yumia, from Victor, to Isla, to Linja, to Nina, and to Rudiger, and all of them had their own unique personalities and strengths and weaknesses, their own faults, and everything that you would want in like an anime type story. And all of them grew over the course of the game, and you really did enjoy them. I think they did a really good job by diversifying the cast and making the cast feel more than just one character trope. They had happy moments, they had sad moments, they had angry moments, they had these moments that really was like, oh my goodness, it was crazy. But not even just the main characters, the side characters was great too, from Wilma and her espionage and stuff that was going on. Of course, the villains was great. No one cares about Cornelius at all. Vesper was pretty dope. Basilisk was a pretty cool villain, as well as Lily Bora. Oh my God, Lily Bora, man. She had one of the best designs in the game, man. I'm just gonna say it. She had one of the best character designs in the game, and I feels like it sucks to say that because she hated her body, but her body was so gorgeous. I loved it. I was gushing every time she was on screen. I wanted her to step on me. I wanted her to ram me. What? The point is, I really loved the design for Lily Bora. She was the best designed character. Then after that would be Nina, and then Yumia, then Rudiger, then Isla, then Victor, then Linja. Linja could have been a little bit better. I loved her design in general, just being a walkland, but overall, her character design, clothing wise, could have been better. Like her clothing options was very lacking, and like everyone else seemed like they had some really unique styles and they had different color choices for their styles, but Linja really had like, you know, less, you know, potential that could have been sought out, but she was still cute in her own way. And I loved her as a character. I love how, you know, she was this frightened character at first, but over time she became more bold and more outspoken, but she still had that little cuteness of her. Whenever you would talk to her, she was talking to Yumia, you would see her tail wagging or her ears flopping. It was just so cute. And I mean, of course, Nina's story is very sad and tragic, but she comes off as this, like, you know, very dominant and very, you know, straightforward woman. But when you learn more about her, it's just like, you know, more unique. Victor was kind of one-dimensional a little bit. You know, he was kind of like, you know, he hated alchemy, but over time he started to realize that he loved, you know, he underappreciated alchemy, that he learned that, you know, alchemy is just as bad as the person that's using it kind of ideal. Isla, I think she's one of the best characters of a best friend, girlfriend, wife, you want to say, to Yumia that you could ever have. Now, I mean, she competes with Claudia. I really do love Claudia as well. I mean, they're both competing, but Isla had some, you know, pizzazz, some charisma that I just loved. Every time she was on screen, she was always doing something with her face, or she had some type of expression. She was always poking fun at Rudiger, Victor. She was always kind to Yumia, always culling her, making sure she was, you know, okay and everything. Plus, you know, you learned that she's a fashion designer, which I'm going to talk more about that in a second. She was also, you know, willing to like help other people, and I wish we could have gotten more on that. Like, I wish the game would have been designed in a way where you can make your own outfits with Isla. Like, if you went to her to customize your outfits, or you went to her to build your gear and stuff, I wish she had a more of a role with her design outfits, because I think that would have been really a good addition in the game, besides the base stuff. Now, when it comes to the base building, I don't think it was that good. You know, it was good, it was decent, it was fun, but some of the times when it came to like doing stuff for the pioneer efforts wasn't all that fun. After, especially if you have to make a bunch of different items, and then it tells you like you have to make these items, but you have a bunch of those items, but you have to place those items first before you can actually use those items before it counts. So that was kind of a tedious. Tracking down some of the blueprints was sometimes fun, but then when you have to find a treasure trove key, where if you already went to a place that had a treasure trove key, so you have to go around the whole map and find that key to get that blueprint so you can complete the pioneer efforts. That was a little tedious at times. And I wish, instead of the blueprints and the clothes being handled by Yumia with synthesizing, I wish it was handled with Isla, because I think that would have been a really good added addition to the game. But hey, I mean, I feels like overall, I think they handled a lot of the stuff that you can do in the game really well. I think my only big gripes with the game, if I'm gonna put some stink on it, is I didn't really care for them cutting away from important cutscenes. So like, for example, when we were going to the next region, there was a part where Yumia had to cut down these trees, and instead of, you know, showing the cutscene of them cutting down the trees, it fades to black, and then it happens off screen, and then it's gone the next time. And I'm like, that could have just been a cutscene. I feels like if they was lacking on the budget to make that cutscene, I feels like they should have dialed back a lot of the base building stuff to make room for more cutscenes in the game. Like, I feels like we're on the PS5, we're on the Xbox Series X, we're on PC now. I mean, of course it was still on Switch, but I feels like there could have been a little bit more care on certain cutscenes just being there. I mean, I feels like sometimes there was like one point where there was no voice acting in a cutscene at all, no like voice acting, no sounds. It was just straight text, which was weird. You know, it was the only time it happened, and I was like, man, that's kind of lazy. You know, I feels like they could have done a little bit better on that. So that was like the only couple times where I was like, they could have did a little better on that, as well as camping. I didn't really care for camping at all because one, it didn't work a lot of the times, and you had to go to a specific spot to make it work instead of going to a campsite that is designated for a campsite to make the camping work. I feels like if they wanted to make cooking still part of Atelier, because you know it's been a part of Atelier for a long time, I think ever since Verona. But I feels like they should have just put cooking pots in villages, and that would make you incentivize to go to villages more and then cook your food, or even you go to your own base and you can cook on your stove, cook the recipes on the stove, make some cool buffs and stuff. And I understand the idea behind cooking is supposed to give you buffs and bonuses and help you during fights, but there was no point in the game that I ever needed the cooking recipes or the cooking buffs until like the last part of the game, like fighting Basilisk is his name. The only time I felt like I needed cooking as a little bit of a buff was fighting the final boss, and that was the only time that I used it. But all the other times between Cornelius, Lilybora, Vesper, and all these other characters, bosses that we fight, I never felt like I really needed it because you already had enough tools and enough power if you were utilizing the synthesizing and utilizing your exploration and getting all the skills that you needed, and the traits. If you were utilizing the traits as well, you were pretty set on the game. It was kind of like a breeze through a little bit most of the time. I mean, when I was in the first area of the world, I leveled up so fast that I was overpowering a lot of stuff until I made it to Aruma. And I was like, okay, now I'm starting to feel a little bit of a challenge, but it was kind of easy to kind of get through stuff. So when it came to the cooking, I felt like it was kind of a wasted effort, and I feels like it could have been handled better in my sense. And the only other small nitpick that I have for the game is the bike. I feel like the bike could have been utilized a little bit more. I feel like the bike was only used for like a small portion of the game for me. I only used it on a handful of times because I feel like this game was designed for you to climb up walls, to you go riding on zip lines and jumping over other things. And I feel like the bike could have been handled better. Like if you was able to upgrade the bike at some point throughout the game, and you can be able to like double jump with the bike, or you can climb up walls with the bike, or you know, use a grappling hook on the bike. I don't know why I'm thinking like some high-tech grappling stuff, but like I think the bike could have been handled a little bit better. But I feels like the bike was just there as necessity, but not really like a thing. Like there was a storyline for it, but after that it wasn't really that big of a deal. I feel like the bike would have been the best to get right at the beginning, or like if they wanted like more mounts that you can use, I feel like you could have been able to use like monsters to ride around. I think that would have been a way better idea than you using the bike, where you was able to use one of those gorilla guys to climb up stuff, or you could tame like a pony or something. That would have been a lot more cooler than the actual bike itself. But you know, it is what it is. It's not that big of a deal, but it was, I feel like it could have been utilized a little bit better. But overall, I love this game. I absolutely adored this game. The world itself was just gorgeous. Every single step that I went, there was always something new catching my attention. And they did a really good job of mapping out the world itself, because it was so unique and so fun to just go off the beaten path, find this cave, find this different road, find this structure. The ruins was always fun to explore and see what new stuff that you could find there. After like getting to like the fourth region, it was kind of like, okay, I know what to do. But even the fourth region, the final region, really surprised me. I was like, okay, this doesn't seem like there's going to be much here. But then after you go through the invisible wall and go into the city, it's like, oh, there's so much going on. There's stuff floating in the air. There's structures on the distance. There's this whole nother body. There was so much for you to do in that world that there was no way you could just breeze past it without something catching your eye and like, oh, what's that? Let me go check it out. Because that is exactly what I did. I was everywhere in this world. I was zip lining over places. I was jumping on different structures. I was trying to see what new places and horizons I could see. All these new unique, fun things were just amazing. A beautiful, mad, amazing world. I feels like this world was better than even Rise of 3. Now, Rise of 3 was like the first time making an open world, mostly zoned areas where you can run around, and there was a lot of stuff to do in Rise of 3. And then they did Fairy Tail 2, which they enhanced that and bettered that type of like exploration and world building. And I feels like with Yumia, they kind of mastered it in a way where it felt enough. Like, it didn't feel over saturated with stuff. It felt just right about the amount of the stuff that you was able to do and figure out what you had to do. And I feels like sometimes when it came to exploration, some things came a little bit later than it should have. Like, for instance, there's like certain like structures that's in your way that you'll need different bullets for, and unless you're doing the pioneering efforts, you don't really know about it unless you like do the side content. So and it kind of makes you it kind of forces you to do the side content, which is really nice. I really do like how, like, not, it doesn't force you, but it kind of like incentivizes you to do the side content, because if you do the side content, you get rewarded with extra stuff that helps you explore the world, which is actually pretty good. Now, when it came to like the side quests, it wasn't really all that meaningful. Like, the ones that would just pop up all the time to just give you SP and stuff, I didn't really do that stuff a lot because it kind of felt redundant after a while. But the pioneer efforts was actually pretty fun. I really did enjoy a lot of the tasks that had to come with it, instead of like, you know, the building stuff. I didn't really care for that, but like learning about the characters and their different origins and using the characters, and it made you kind of utilize other characters than just Yumia or just one specific group. I mean, by the time that at the end, I already knew my set team who I wanted to beat the game with, but I did a pretty good job of playing with everybody, and the pioneer efforts kind of forced my hand to do that, and I really like that. I mean, I feels like other games like in the Atelier series hasn't really done that well. Like when it came to like Ryza, I didn't really utilize all the characters as I should have. I only favored the girls in that game. I didn't really use Impio or Lint or Toe that much, but like, you know, in this game, I felt like, you know, it was a joy to learn those characters and also learn more about them and what they can do and their different weapon types and stuff. And it was fun. And the combat, oh my God, the combat was spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. Once you learn it, it is like a true like breeze. Like I feels like in this world, you technically are Yumia, where you're this inexperienced alchemist that doesn't really know anything about the world. You don't really know anything about alchemy that much. Like, you're experienced in it, you dabbled in it because you know about it, because you played other games, but once you really learn it, you become such infatuated with it, and it's such a different type of perspective than what you expected. Because like in other Atelier games, it was in this realm where you kind of had this like comfort level of alchemy. There was not a lot of stakes at risk for it. Like, not that it was like anything too bad, but like you had this idea where you knew exactly what to do when you played an Atelier game. They kind of like held your hand a little bit. But with Yumia, where the world is set in a world where alchemy is taboo, no one likes it, you kind of have to learn things on your own. And I felt that, like you had to learn where the particles were, and you had to rebuild the items that you had. And then once you looked at the synthesizing, it was a little awkward and weird. But once you started to learn it, you start to grow with Yumia. And then once you like mastered it, you were like, oh, I'm at the same level as Yumia. She's a master at alchemy now. I'm a master at alchemy now. I'm a master at the combat, and it's so fun. You're flipping, you're dipping, you're moving back and forth between different positions. You're using tools and items and all this other stuff to make yourself do all kinds of school. You're assisting in different like friend actions. You have the precision combat. The combat was so much fun to play. It almost felt like I was playing a fighting game. Like they took an idea from a battle arena and put it in Yumia, and I love it. I love the combat. It still has that turn-based kind of formula, which we love when it comes to Atelier games, but it also felt a little bit more freer. You wasn't locked down to just one position. You could move around. You could change locations. You can switch your characters on the fly. It was always keeping you moving, which is something they kind of adopted into Fairy Tail 2. I mean, they started it in Rise of 3, but then they made it a little bit better in Fairy Tail 2, but then they capitalized it in Yumia, and I hope they keep advancing the combat for future games, because I really did love the combat and the synthesizer in this game. Again, it was a little complicated at first, but over time, it was a fun adventure. It was a fun hurdle to get over once you mastered it, and once you did master it, you felt like an actual master alchemist, like Yumia by the end of the game, and it was just a fun adventure to go through. And I wish I could do it all over again, because it was just that fun to play. It was just fun to play it. Now, when it comes to the trophy system in this game is pretty simple. There's some that you have to go out of your way for when it comes to like the pioneering efforts and like, you know, the subtle 100%ing the world and getting all the locations and stuff on the map and stuff. That was like the only like true like effort that you had to put into the game. But everything else is kind of just, if you play the game, then you unlock the trophies. The trophies was actually pretty simple to get in this game, and I got half of them just by playing the game and me just doing stuff. I would just go somewhere and a trophy would pop. It's like, oh, I just got that, okay. Or like I would try to do something before I was actually able to do it, and I'm like, man, I can't get to this area. I don't know why I can't unlock this area. So I would just go back to completing the story. And then as I played the story, it goes there eventually. And I was like, oh, the game was just like, just play the game. Just play the game. And then eventually you will get to your destination and the trophy will pop. They just like, hey, we got you. You know, relax. You know, play the game. I know you want to explore. I know you get distracted by all the pretty shiny things out there, but also play the story. And then the story will guide you to the destination you need to be to get to that location to unlock the trophy. Man, this game was a treat, a true treat, and I loved everything about it, and I'm sad that it's over. It's definitely up there in my Mount Rushmore of games. Like, the more I think about it, the more it settles with me. I loved this game. Everything about this game was great. I mean, again, not everything, but the overall structure of this game was good, and I feels like they're hitting in the right direction. And I guess I'll leave this last little bit. Like again, I didn't really talk about the trophies too much, but again, if you play the game, you know, you get the trophies. The trophies was actually a lot of fun to go and get and achieve in this game. Like, not that other Atelier games aren't that fun to go get, but they felt some of them were kind of tedious to get trophies in other Atelier games, especially Rise of 3. There's a lot of stuff to do in Rise of when it comes to the trophy systems, but it's not that bad. But I felt like recently, ever since like Fairy Tail 2, Gus has understood the idea of making trophies challenging, but also fun at the same time. Like, they make it more accessible, but like trying to like make you work for it, but at the same time not wasting your time while doing it. That's the thing. Like, they don't waste your time when it comes to trophies with these games, and I really do enjoy that, because there's sometimes when you're doing trophy hunting, if you care about trophy hunting, I know a lot of people don't, but I do. And when you are trophy hunting, there's a trophy that pops and it's like, it's not happening, and it's like, why? And you have to do this like small little bit of little thing, and then it pops and it's like, it's a headache. But if you play the game, you eventually just unlock a lot of the trophies just by playing it. And I'm not talking about just going from story beat to story beat. I'm talking about just enjoying the game in general, playing all the side content, doing all the story missions, doing all the alchemy, going out and finding particles and stuff, and just, you know, enjoying the game for the game. And then you eventually will get all the trophies. I mean, some, again, you have to go out and explore a little bit to get those trophies, but again, if you play the game, you just get them. And man, it was just a joy. It was such a joy. It was one of the funnest trophy hunts I've done in a while. And it was just so much fun. It was so much fun. Now, again, let me just end on Yumia herself. from the get-go, I already knew I was going to like Yumia from her design. She had a very slick and tall adult demeanor about her, but at the same time, when you actually get to play and enjoy her, you learn that she's more than that. She's has this whole different identity. Like at the beginning, she had this like blindness to alchemy, that she just wanted to do stuff, use alchemy to help people. She felt like alchemy could do no wrong, but after learning that alchemy can hurt people, she started to get wised up to it. And then you want to cuddle her, you want to, you know, hold her and just make sure she's okay. There's a part that does happen in the game that I'm not going to spoil just in case people do want to play the game who hasn't played the game, but there is a part that does happen, and when it does happen, I'm just like, oh, Yumia. It's like this whole game is about lost but also acceptance. Like sometimes you just can't change the past, and you gotta just settle with that. You know, there's things that just happens, and no matter what you do, you can't change it, and you just gotta accept it and move on, regardless of the happy or sad trauma that happened. Because like, man, I felt that, because as you all know, I love YouTube, and I had a lot of good history with YouTube by making videos. And unfortunately, I did delete a lot of my old videos that I regret today, and I wish I can get those back. But at the same time, there's no way for me to get those videos back. I deleted those shits so hard off of everything. Now I only have the memories of them, the fragments of them. But in the midst of those videos, I created new videos. I made more memories. I made new memories. I never forget the past. I'll never forget the past. But at the same time, I don't let it control me to not move forward. And that's what this game has taught me, is that you can't hold on to the past. You can enjoy the past. You can relish in the past a little bit, but don't let that stop you from creating new memories, creating new adventures for yourself, as well as just living for the future, you know, or the current future you're in, not the like the fast future, the far future, just the future. Either way, I don't know. My metaphor is getting like jumbled, and I think I'm starting to ramble a little bit. But either way, at the end of the day, I love Yumia. I love it. I loved it. I loved it so much, and I hope we get a sequel to the game. I don't know if we need a trilogy with Yumia, but I would love a sequel to this game, because there's still some untold stories with it, and I feel like there's some things that they could elaborate more on the world, because the world itself is still broken by the time you're done with the game, and there's some more things that you need to learn about, and I want to know more. I want to see more of her. Like, again, I feel like the reason why I love Ryza so much is because we had 3 games to enjoy her as she was growing up as an alchemist, and you were able to see her story conclude in a good way, except for, you know, Ryza and Claudio getting together. But, you know, well, I guess you just can't be happy for everything in the world. But either way, I want more Yumia. I mean, I don't know if they're going to do DLC down the line. They're still doing some updates for the game, but I don't know if they're going to do like a major DLC for the game. I hope. But I feel like at the same time, I want them to spend that time making a new Yumia. I don't know what that was going to be called. I mean, obviously, Atelier Yumia 2, but I don't know what the subtext is going to be called. But regardless of the fact, I'm there for it, and I'm waiting for it. So that is my adventure in review in structure of the trophy system in Yumia. I don't know if I did a really good job of talking about the trophies too much, but hopefully you get the idea. I platinumed the game, and it was fun, and it was enjoyable. That's all you need to know. It's like, it was fun. And I definitely would say, if you love platinuming games, Yumia is definitely a good experience to platinum a game if you enjoy 100%ing games. So with that being said, let me know how you guys feel about Yumia. What was your journey like in the comments down below? Did you enjoy the game? So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, let me know by hitting the like button, subscribing for more. I'm trying to hit 15K by the end of the year, and with your help and support, I can definitely do that. And with that being said, I will see you in the next video next time. Bye me.